Why did I quit my job as a senior software engineer at IBM? Today, I'm going to explain to you exactly why I did that and how I came up with this decision and what factors led into that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm so excited that you're here. The first reason that helped me come to this realization is when I realized that I just don't really enjoy coding that much. So if you're a senior software engineer, that is your job. Your job is to code every day. It's to figure out requirements. It's to be clear with your stakeholders, to understand what you're going to deliver, estimate how you're going to deliver it and in how much time, and then actually implement it. I'm fine at those first two things. I love coordinating with stakeholders. I love defining requirements. But when it actually comes to implementation time, writing new code, creating a feature, I just push it off and I'm not super excited about it. And the more I did that, the more I realized, hey, maybe this isn't for me, or maybe I should do something else that I'm a little bit more excited about. If you absolutely dread it, I mean, I'm sure some people do and still do it, but I don't want to live my life that way. I don't want to spend 8 hours a day in dread and not enjoying what I do. Reason number two is that I didn't feel like I was making a huge impact with my work. So let me explain that a little bit. So when I'm creating all my tutorials online, I put all my stuff on IBM Developer. That is kind of my finished product. That is me shipping my product, if you will. But in my heart, I just didn't see much impact from my work. So I didn't feel like I was really contributing and really making a difference. I'm sure some people read my articles and I'm sure some people read my tutorials, and I definitely get a lot of comments online with my Hyperledger Fabric tutorials like, hey, you helped me a lot, especially a lot of those college students. But in my day-to-day job creating articles for developer.ibm.com, I just didn't feel that fulfilled and that inspired, and I didn't feel like I was really making a difference in the world. My number 3 point deals with growth. I felt like I had stagnated. I felt like I wasn't learning that much. For example, when I joined this IBM developer team, I felt like I was learning so much. When I jumped into a big code base for one of the bigger blockchain projects, it took me weeks to really understand the code base and really understand what was going on. And I learned so much in that first month. When I was really struggling, I actually didn't know if I would be able to do the job. I literally had doubts in my mind like, hey, I may just get fired because I may not be able to figure out this code base. And finally, before the deadline, I was able to figure it out with about 1 day before the deadline. But then I really felt like I was growing, and I really felt like I was getting a lot out of my job. But as the time wore on, about 2 years later, I felt like I really knew the process. I really knew the products, what I was working with, and I wasn't gaining that much more valuable experience. Number 4. So the fourth reason that I made my decision is about how the team functioned and just the job role in general. So my job role didn't really have that much collaboration. So there were times when I did collaborate. So there are different projects such as the IBM Cloud Essentials course, which was a huge collaboration project, and other projects that I worked on that had a lot of collaboration and had different team members working on different things. But in my day-to-day role, the 8 hours a day, the most consistent thing that I ever did, it was just a completely individual task. A lot of times it wasn't really working with other team members. There was some back and forth for sure with different people from the business units explaining me the product. But at the end of the day, it still felt like a very lonely and a very singular, non-collaborative role, which is fine for certain people. But I've realized over time that I thrive in a team setting. When I think back to all my best accomplishments, they were tennis matches that I've won winning for a team. They've been group projects in college where I was on a team. Really, all of my success has came from being on a team, and I think that team camaraderie and team chemistry pushes me to be the best version of myself, and that's what was missing from my prior role. So that's another big factor that helped me make my decision. Reason number 5, and maybe a simple one or maybe one that's not super relevant, but I think it is that I simply was not happy, just in general. And this may be due to different factors, maybe because I was plateauing, maybe because I wasn't learning so much, maybe because it wasn't the most collaborative role. But just all in all, I was not happy. I wasn't excited to get up to go to work. I wasn't excited to be working on the project what I was working on. And that's when it clicked in my mind, hey, I should make an adjustment. I need to change something. I can't just expect things to get better without me doing my part in changing something. So that was another big clue into understanding that, hey, I'm not happy right now. I need to change the situation immediately. So I started looking out. I started reading books about career. I read Design Your Work Life. That was extremely helpful to understand what I want from my career and where do I want to go next. So that helped me a lot, and it helped me reshape the way I think about work and the way I thought about my job. And that mental shift helped me become a little bit more happy, but I knew I could find a role that fit my personality and my skill set a little bit better. So me being not happy was another huge reason for me to make my decision.